So today, the mother of all bombshells potentially dropped is that nameless person. They decided they were going to take to Instagram out of the blue, and they decided to announce to the world that they had become a parent. That's right. They used a surrogate back 04/08/2021. They had a child, and people started asking, well, since it takes two to tango, who's the other person involved? Now, quite a few internet sleuths, they started looking at this. Props to them, by the way. Looking at you, Laura B. But they noted that 4 years ago in this statement, for example, comes up. Now, who was this person with 4 years ago? I redacted the names off of this, but this is a USA Today article. It's talking about it coming out, as it were. That nameless person and Rocketman, they make their public debut together. Again, April 24th, 2017. There are other things that tie this date together too, but what really makes this fascinating is the declaration of one Jennifer Howell. If you don't know that name, you and I will talk about it in just a moment, but let's just say that this is a person that is in the know. They had backstage access, and they talked about quite a few things that they saw and heard. Now, the one thing that these folks, they seem to really want to strike down was this statement here. This statement, it dealt with the mother of that nameless person talking to Jennifer Howell and saying, I know about that nameless person. I know about the Rocketman. I know about their relationship. Not only is that Rocketman controlling, and we're going to use the word accostive, but the Rocketman is in a legal battle with the nameless person. And the reason that they're in this legal battle, it's over the rights to embryos. Essentially, he wants them destroyed. She wants to keep them to have a baby. If you look at the timeline, all of this stuff is coming up. It's basically grafted into 4 years ago. All of this, it starts to make so many things clear. So many things make sense. If you think about the motivation to get involved publicly and privately, yeah, what would be a bigger motivator than all of this stuff? You and I, we're going to talk about that today. Again, this has the potential to become the bombshell of bombshells. I think the next few weeks, they're going to be amazing. But yeah, buckle up because today, we are going to have a fascinating ride. So hey there to you folks, by the way. I hope you are doing excellently. I'm sitting here, by the way, making an impromptu video. Apologies. I'm making this on a mobile device. I'm not at home yet, but when I saw this news, I thought, I've got to share this. We have got to talk about that. If you would, too, share this information far and wide. Make sure everybody sees it. Looks at the evidence here. Notice this. This doesn't look just like idle gossip. And again, this isn't about the kid at all. The kid, I wish them a great life. I hope they have success. I hope they have love and affection. This, though, it's talking about case. It's talking about things that have come up, talking about people trying to discredit Jennifer Howell and on. Yeah, that is so much. But also, feed that pesky algorithm if you would. Likes, comments, it loves your affection. If you're subbed to the channel, make sure you're still subbed. And if you haven't, you don't have to. But oh man, those buttons, they would be so happy. But this is the statement that came up today, by the way. I'm so excited to share this news with you. 4 years ago, again, notice that key there. 4 years ago, I decided I wanted to have a child. I wanted to do it on my own terms. I now appreciate how radical it is for us as women to think about one of the most fundamental parts of our destinies in this way. I hope we arrive at a point in which it's normalized to not want a ring in order to have a crib. A part of me wants to uphold that my private life is none of anyone's business. I also get that the nature of my job compels me to take control of this, My daughter was born on, gives the date here, April 8th, 2021. Like I said before, too, it has nothing to do with the child, really. This is talking about circumstances beyond that. So I redacted the name, even though nameless person brought it up, put up a picture of them as well. The mainstream media, they put this thing everywhere. I redacted it there, and I really hope this last statement is actually true. She's the beginning of the rest of my life. Like I was saying, people they tied in to that 4 years ago too. They brought up right away that if you look at the debut together, again, you look at that timeline, it makes a lot of things start making sense. And there's other things that tie all of this together. You start looking at that. You start looking at all of the other breadcrumbs. We'll drop them into live streams to really flesh that out. But yeah, it makes things make a lot more sense. Now, when we look at the declaration of one Jennifer Howe, just to hammer home who this person is, if you look at that second part here, you have Whitney. I'm going to refer to Whitney all the time, by the way, but that is the sister of that nameless person. These folks, they were so close that Whitney would call Jennifer Howe chosen sister. Think about the ramifications and the implications to that. The ramifications when that nameless person, they hear about that, I'm sure they're not going to be happy. And the implication of calling them that at all is saying, I choose you over that person. I also, Jennifer Howe says, called her my chosen sister. And we've seen text messages that prove this, by the way. So all of these people were tied together. Jennifer Howe owns the Art of Elysium. You have Whitney, she works there. And in fact, you have these people, they become so close that Whitney, she basically needs a place to live. Not because JD, not because of anything he does, but rather what the nameless person does. And you have Jennifer Howe open up her house, open up her heart too, in my opinion. Now, she talks about all of that time. We've had another person back all of these statements up too, but she talks about so many things in this. But the one statement, like I was saying, that they really seem to want to discredit was this stuff here. And at first they talked about it as wanting to discredit this because Paige is mentioned. I could understand that. But the more I thought about this, the more I thought, maybe it's because the Rocketman and the other stuff is mentioned here too. So I knew Paige. That's the mother, again, of that nameless person. And they mentioned that, this is the mother of all these folks. Paige shared with me while I was visiting Whitney that the Rocketman had gifted a Tesla or multiple Teslas. I'm not sure if it was one or more, but that nameless person, they found out they were quote unquote bugged. Paige told me that the nameless person said that the Rocketman was controlling and he was accostive. I scrubbed that there too. And that she was in a legal battle with him over the rights to embryos they had created together. He wanted them destroyed, and that nameless person tried to keep them to have a baby. Now, you look at the rest of these statements as well. I'm just going to include this little part here, but when you think about this is talking about the timeline of their relationship. So this tells you, again, it backs up the 4-year claim. Paige told me that JD was either an angel or a saint compared to that Rocketman. She wished that nameless person and JD would reconcile. She also talked about the breakup. She blamed it squarely on that nameless person. But again, all of those statements, they give you an idea of when all of this is transpiring. Again, 4 years there. Now, why is that important? Because it tells you why somebody would be motivated to go out of their way to publicly take up for that nameless person. But what's more, the name keeps coming up as someone that's financing all of this. In fact, I had a source hit me up and say, you should see, who's funding it. You should start exploring that. Talk to others about exploring that because it's going to become crucial. I asked about that too. I was like, why? And they said, well, you'll see. Something's going to come up, something big. And I wonder, is this it? Are we going to see something else that's even bigger? Or is this it? Because again, this is a primary motivator. It describes so many things to you. And when you think about this, the timeline, like I said, it makes sense. The motivation, the actions, they make sense. So many things tie together. But anyway, Let me know what you think about this stuff. And as always, too, I appreciate the heck out of you. You make this channel work. I cannot say that enough. Thank you. You want to help out the channel in different ways? Check out the links in the description. We have plenty of different options there, but that's for people that want to do something else. And I appreciate people who do that or just show up. You showing up, that makes the difference too. So thank you again. I appreciate you. I really want to know what you think about that. So put a discussion out there. Share it everywhere, like I said. But thank you. I appreciate you. We'll see you soon.